Hello!
Hello!
This is Kati.
Niklas.
We are both here in Berlin to talk about our artwork that we have made for SIAF, and the SIAF team has sent us some questions for that, which we will answer now. Question number 1. What kind of work did you plan to show in the exhibition?
We had a very interesting opportunity to show completely new work at SIAF2020, and the starting point was snow and ice, which are very abundant in Sapporo. Sapporo is well known for amazing winters and a big snow festival. So we thought with the SIAF team that it would be really interesting to create some kind of machine that's also an interactive installation that can use snow and ice as material.
Yeah, we thought we built something that would be outside, visitors would operate it, and we have thought already quite specific about what interested us were the optical properties of ice. We made some experiments for that already in Berlin in our freezer. But we also realized that we cannot build the machine here in Berlin because it just doesn't get cold enough in winter, and we would have to test the machine also when we build it under the real circumstances, how it would be shown then. So in February we went to Sapporo for the research residency at the Tenjin-Yama Art Studio, and when we arrived there was a bit of a surprise because it was warmer than expected.
Indeed, it was plus temperature, it was a bit wet, and we walked around and we were thinking that making ice experiments is a bit challenging under these circumstances, but also it made us think the winters in general, how they are turning warmer, because this was also happening in a lot of other countries at the time. So it created a shift in our thinking. And we started to explore a little bit the local snow practices and how they relate to these warming winters.
Yeah, because what we have realized there is something that we have not seen before is that in Sapporo there exist so many different yukikakis you can't imagine. And for those who are wondering now what are yukikakis, yukikaki is the Japanese word for snow shovel, or for the act of snow shoveling. Yuki is snow and yukikaki is the snow shovel.
We saw a lot of yukikaki in the end. We saw both outside houses, very nicely organized different type of yukikaki, different kinds of snow shovel, and also in the hardware store we had a really nice experience exploring
overwhelming varieties of yukikakis. So there are really yukikakis for every type of snow. There is one for wet snow, one for dry snow, there is one for kids, there is one for adults, and all of them also exist in at least 5 colors.
Then there are other kind of snow gear because it can get even a bit dangerous with such amounts of snow. So there are some cones which you can mark areas that snow might fall down, and you have a lot of big long sticks which you mark things that are under snow, so you won't by accident bump into them.
And we thought, well, okay, so now we are here in this situation. There is not much snow, but all this snow equipment. Let's make something out of this situation. And we thought it might be even more like this in the future, that winters are getting warmer, but then there are all those yukikakis and no one knows what to do with them. So we were thinking about alternative uses for yukikakis. And the shape of the yukikakis, they reminded us of blades of turbines. And we thought maybe we should just try to build wind turbines out of the yukikakis.
So we did a lot of visits to the hardware stores and tried to do different shapes, but soon we realized that it's actually very hard for us to predict which yukikaki would work best and which would generate more energy as windmills. So we thought, let's go for a research direction. Instead of trying to make a power plant out of yukikakis, let's do a research station.
Exactly. That is what we've built then, the Yukikaki research station. It looks like a scientific station, like a little bit DIY scientific station. It has 3 turbines built in, 2 Yukikaki turbines and 1 turbine on top, which is like it's a toy for forming snowballs that you can throw. With this we've also built a propeller. And then it has a little computer built inside, and the computer constantly monitors the performance of the propellers.
The propellers actually have a sensor, so each propeller has a magnetic sensor to record how much it rotates.
Mm-hmm. And the visitors would have been able, this is how we have to say it, would have been able to log in with their smartphones into the research station and to see how well the turbines performed over the course of the last 12 or 24 hours. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, as a location we had planned this nice open area in front of the Sapporo Art Museum at the Sapporo Art Park, that it could also welcome people to the museum, and you could see it outside and log in with your smartphone to see how the propellers have been performing.
Yeah. So, but unfortunately, we have only seen our installation inside in the Tenshiniyama studio, and then we had to dismantle it because otherwise we wouldn't have gotten it out of the door. And now it's stored, dismantled in the storage space of the Sapporo Art Museum.
But we hope that someday it will perhaps
will
be experimented with somehow, and hopefully can inspire people to make more wind experiments in Sapporo and in Hokkaido.
Exactly.
How do you refer to SIAF's title and concept of roots and clouds?
So a rather simple way how we are referring to it is, for me at least, is through water. Well, water pours out of clouds, is soaked up by roots. This is what connects them both, and both our initial concept and our final installation, for me they both deal with water and with nature. The first one is clearly about snow, so how to make
different forms of water,
ice also, the properties of ice. The second one is about the absence of snow, but about the natural forces.
We have made the installation also with a bit of DIY approach, using existing materials, trying to find alternative scenarios and ways how we can live further in our environments. And in this sense also returning perhaps to our roots, where we were more directly connected to nature. Next question. What is your impression on Sapporo?
Excellent impression.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, we really had the. How do you say this? I mean, it was really nice because we could be there for a month, and we could work there. And I think it is always super nice to be at a different place where you can actually work and where you're not coming as a tourist. But Sapporo, that was so special for us because we both wanted to be already for a long time in Japan, for a little bit longer time. I've just been super short in Japan before. And yeah.
And Hokkaido has a very specific climate, of course, but also this nice, friendly atmosphere on the streets. If we would stop for a moment, someone would immediately come and ask if we need help. And of course, SIAF team was extremely friendly, extremely hospitable to us and helping with everything, because we do not speak Japanese, so we needed a bit of help.
Exactly. What was also super was the food.
Yes.
Talking about food, I have to show you something. Because I found a new friend also in Sapporo, which is a banana.
Niklas bought a handbag.
Yeah, in the second-hand shop. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and we also, because we build things, so we really appreciated also the local hardware stores. As we already told about the yukikaki selection, that was not only the yukikaki selection that was very impressive, but all the tools, there was something for everything.
Yeah.
It was really, we spent so much time there.
Yeah, and better than German hardware stores, that's for sure.
Well, it would be still nice to see even more of the nature, I think. Now we were quite working a lot on the machine
Onsen.
and so on.
We have not been in an onsen. We had no time for onsen.
Yeah,
we have to come back.
Yeah.
we want to come back. Okay, let's answer the last question.
So, the last question is, how does the pandemic affect your work?
I guess there are two ways to answer this. One is how does it affect the work that we wanted to show at SIAF, and the other is our work in general. Let's start with the Yukikaki research station. So obviously it will not be shown now in the art park in the way how we wanted to present it, but it will be only shown online. That's a bit sad for us because we would have liked to see it in the art park as well. But the good thing is that at least we have a video of it that you can watch now, and where we can probably all imagine how it would look like in the art park. And the other is our work in general.
Yeah, it was not for us a very dramatic change in terms of our work practice, because we have this place where we are usually. It's a street level shop space, so we also see to the street and see what's happening outside and talk with the neighbors, and all of this resulted also us reacting to the situation. We started, for example, producing a lot of face masks because we had a sewing machine, we had some fabrics, and there was a big need for masks suddenly. And the other thing was we noticed a lot of people are walking on the street and jogging and looking around, observing their neighborhood much more than normally, because they cannot go to all those indoor places where they usually go.
Yeah, galleries, museums, bars, restaurants, this was all closed. So what I've done then is I have built an interactive installation for our window that people could operate with their smartphones. Save for the pandemic, they did not have to touch anything except of their own device, and with that machine they could leave encouraging and positive messages for the other people on the street.
And then we also noticed that the people were doing a bit more extensive spring cleaning this year, because in Berlin it's a habit to leave cardboard boxes on the streets which says zu verschenken, which means it's a giveaway. It's a donation, anyone can take. There's usually toys or books or dishes or clothes in these boxes, and the Berliners have a bit of a habit also leaving all sorts of stuff on the street, also stuff that really doesn't belong there, like old computers and TVs and washing machines. But luckily I had a project also where I was planning to use recycled material. So this was a very fruitful time to collect recycled materials from the street that I could then use for my other work.
And then we have also done one more thing, because we had a little bit more time at hand than expected. We started an online course in Japanese.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Because we were really felt a bit bad that we couldn't understand much in February when we were in Sapporo, so we thought we should learn a little bit Japanese. So
now we can read a little bit hiragana. Yeah.
We hope to continue it later.
Yeah, so next time we are at Max Valu, we probably understand a little bit better what is written on the packages. And we can say stuff like, Watashi wa Niklas desu.
In the hope someone will understand us.
Exactly. What can we also say? Sayonara.
Sayonara.